Well, Plaquemines Parish, one of the hardest hit areas when Hurricane Katrina came ashore in 2005, is still dealing with the lingering effects of the monster storm, even though it's 20 years later.
In our latest installment of Faces of Katrina, WDSU's Travers Mackel has more from Plaquemines Parish and the man who led them through the worst natural disaster to ever happen there.
For as far as your eyes could see, parts of Plaquemines Parish looked like a lake after Hurricane Katrina made landfall. The devastation, incredible. Entire communities tragically wiped out.
I'm Benny Roussel, former Plaquemines Parish president, and I served during Katrina.
Benny Roussel, a lifelong Plaquemines Parish resident, was thrust into the spotlight as the top elected leader in the suburban New Orleans parish right along the Mississippi River. Seen in this image, meeting with President George Bush just days after the deadly storm.
Do you feel like Plaquemines is somewhat forgotten? I mean, look, New Orleans made a lot of headlines. 80% of the city went underwater. Jefferson Parish got some flooding. But do you think people forget the extent of the damage here in Plaquemines Parish?
Absolutely. I don't think people realize that this is where the storm came ashore.
Katrina's recorded landfall right near Buras on August 29, 2005. Roussel, tasked with trying to get people out in the final hours ahead of the storm.
We had such a great group of employees that made a perfect team that rode the storm out in the pump stations and in the water plants.
The now 74-year-old, who's semi-retired and lives in Belle Chase, made it a top priority to get people to higher ground, and recounts one talk he had with New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin when the search and rescue operations were in full swing after Katrina.
When I evacuated Plaquemines Parish, I used school buses. I talked to Ray about that because I saw the picture on the news of all the school buses floating in the water. I said, Ray, why did you not put all of those people in them school buses and take them out instead of putting them in the dome or wherever you put them? I mean, you could have got them. He said, well, I didn't own the school buses. I said, Ray, you could have commandeered those buses. You had a complete police force. What I had to do when I ran out of bus drivers, I stepped on the bus and asked who had the most family members on the bus and a driver's license, and I gave them the keys and told them to leave.
I mean, that right there is a crazy story in itself that I think that people don't realize how life and death this situation was.
You got to be able to react, you know, and you got to make split decisions. And you can't worry about the consequences. You just hope you make the right decision.
Do you think you made the right decisions?
I do, because I got the buses back about 3 months later.
But years later, many people have never come back. While the parish's overall population is down about 3,000 people from 2005, most now live in the northern end, Belle Chase. The southern part of the parish, places like Buras, Port Sulphur, Empire, and Boothville, Venice, destroyed. And 20 years later, those areas still not the same.
We had great communities down there. Now the communities are suffering tremendously.
While Roussel was the parish president when Katrina hit, he only remained in office for a year after the storm. Barred by term limits from seeking re-election in 2006, he was out by 2007, securing billions in funding to watch other parish presidents use it.
I had the opportunity to pump the water out, clean up the mess, remove the houses off the highway, remove the boats off the highway, but I didn't get to spend the money.
And he still questions how millions were spent. Tens of millions of dollars used to rebuild the courthouse and old jail on the less populated east bank of the parish. And over $15 million in federal funds used to rebuild Port Eads, a project Roussel calls a waste.
I would have taken the money and put it in Fort Jackson, something that the local community could benefit from. Local community doesn't benefit from going to Port Eads. If you don't have a boat, you can't even get there.
Roussel also critical of the federal response, then and now.
You mentioned FEMA. How would you rate them? What did FEMA do for Plaquemines Parish in the days, weeks, and years after Katrina?
FEMA, to me, was a disaster on top of a disaster.
I know there's a movement in D.C. to essentially do away with FEMA right now. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
If President Trump structures the FEMA assistance program to do block grants to the locals with oversight and auditing capabilities, I think it's a good thing.
Is there too much red tape dealing with the federal government? I mean, you were there. You saw it firsthand in the worst disaster that ever hit this parish. Is there too much red tape when you have to deal with FEMA and the federal government still to this day?
Absolutely.
Is that unfortunate?
It is unfortunate.
Always speaking his mind, Benny Roussel, former Plaquemines Parish president, one of the many faces of Hurricane Katrina.
How do you want people in Plaquemines Parish and really Southeast Louisiana to remember Benny Roussel?
I tell the truth, I'm honest with you, and I do the best that I can with the resources that I have.
In Plaquemines Parish, I'm Travers Mackel, WDSU News.